Good Sunday morning, folks. I'm NTV Chief Meteorologist Eddie Shear. Just after 11 o'clock now on our Sunday, actually closing in on 11:30. And if I'm doing a weather update for you on Sunday, it generally means some bad weather maybe in the forecast, and that is the case. If you recall, on Friday I was talking about the possibility of heavy rain Monday into Tuesday. Well, now that looks like it's going to become a likelihood. Rainfall warning in place for the Burin and Canaga Peninsula, Burin Peninsula and the Canaga region already. And I do expect, as the day goes on, Environment Canada will expand those warnings west, north, and east, as it looks like much of the island will be seeing very heavy rainfall tomorrow into Tuesday. Now, as far as what we have going on out there now, very quiet. You really don't have anything to worry about as we go through the rest of today. Again, the time frame for the heavy rain tomorrow into Tuesday. What's left of Matthew now bringing rain to areas of the Delmarva, eastern New Jersey, getting up into southern New England and Maine, and finally beginning to depart the middle Atlantic states. Going back 24 hours, look at all that rain. Reds, yellows, very heavy rain across eastern North Carolina as Matthew came ashore in South Carolina yesterday. Now it's a post-tropical storm. Regardless, though, areas of eastern North Carolina saw 14 inches, over 1,000 millimeters of rain just yesterday alone. Now, we are not going to be seeing rainfall amounts like that, but we could see close to 100 millimeters of rain in spots tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow night, into Tuesday morning, as what's left of Matthew is going to now pass near or over eastern Newfoundland tomorrow into tomorrow night. If you recall, earlier in the week, Matthew was forecast to kind of do a bit of a loop-de-loo and head back toward the Bahamas. Well, that's no longer the case, getting picked up by the upper-level weather pattern and pushed right toward Newfoundland, of course. We're also watching Tropical Storm Nicole. Now, Nicole could be something we need to watch toward the latter part of next week. But as of now, Nicole is actually going to help Matthew bring the rain to us because some moisture from Nicole is actually going to get pushed up as Matthew rolls up over us. So what you're seeing here is precipitable water, or how much water is at any given point in the atmosphere at any given time. So if all the rain were to come down on you at once, we're talking about 2 or 3 inches of rain, or 75 millimeters of rain, over any given point over Tropical Storm Nicole, which is right here. But sometimes, all the time I should say, tropical systems have a lot of moisture on their own, but when you start getting fetches from one to another directed at a given place, that just aids to a heavy rain threat, which is exactly what we're seeing with Nicole and Matthew. So up here, this is Matthew's remnant moisture. This is Nicole. This is all the moisture Nicole has. You can see there very high amounts, purples. And there's that chain, or fetch, which goes from Nicole, remnants of Matthew, up over eastern Newfoundland tomorrow night. That's why we have such a threat of very heavy rainfall. Futurecast will start us off this evening, showing no problems across the island as far as rain goes tonight into tomorrow morning. By tomorrow morning, we are seeing that heavy rain beginning to push on to the south coast. And as we go through the day tomorrow, the remnant low for Matthew will be east of Nova Scotia, but the rain will be well north of the low. And I'm not 100% sold this model, which is called the RPM, has the placement of heaviest rain right. I think the heaviest rain tomorrow is likely across central and eastern Newfoundland, not so much the west coast. So again, as we go into tomorrow evening, this model is showing the heaviest rain for the west coast, but I would like to move that. If I could pick this up in the computer, obviously, and move it to the right, farther to the right or to the east, that's what I would do. I don't think this is 100% correct, just based on what I'm looking at as far as guidance goes. Either way, I think it has the timing of the heaviest rain right. The timing of the heaviest rain for central, eastern areas looks like it is going to be tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow night, finally winding down by Tuesday morning as the low begins to cross and pull away. Amounts. This is the European model's forecast, and this model has been very consistent at showing the heaviest rain across eastern Newfoundland, which is why I was just saying I think that model doesn't have it 100% right. This model forecasting for the Burin Peninsula and a good chunk of the Avalon over 100 millimeters of rain. If that's the case, we're talking about the potential for localized flooding and the potential for washed out roads. As we go further west, as you can see, the amounts drop off dramatically. Now, as we take a look at the GFS model, this too has the rain further east. Not as far west as the RPM model and not as far east as the European, but somewhere right in the middle, which is also a valid possibility showing 100 plus mils for much of the south coast, interior Newfoundland, and as you go north, it looks like amounts in the 75 to 100 millimeter range for central, in the Avalon a little bit less than that, and way less on the northern peninsula and the west coast. But even if this is the case, areas along the south coast, Burin Peninsula, southern Avalon, again, localized flooding, possibly washed out roads. Now going back to the European, as you can see, rain is a little farther east. GFS model, rain a little farther west. Either way, south coast in both areas of heavy rain. So I think the heaviest rain likely along the south coast. That's where I think the possibility is for the highest risk of flooding and the highest risk of washed out roads. So keep that in mind. Winds, they're going to be strong, not as strong as we've seen in the past, but certainly gusty, and it looks like the gustiest winds are going to come in tomorrow evening and tomorrow night. By tomorrow evening, we could be seeing gusts approaching 70 at Cape Race, St. John's, St. Lawrence, Bonavista. Tomorrow night, we could be seeing gusts closing in on 100 at Cape Race and Bonavista, and probably on the Avalon as well. Northeast Avalon, I should say, but the computer model might be showing the low kind of going right overhead or something that's not showing that 100-kilometer-an-hour gust at St. John's, but I think that's definitely a possibility. Winds pick up as we go into Tuesday, and they begin to back off by Tuesday evening as the low pulls away and the core of the highest wind speeds does retreat as well. So as far as the headlines from this go, this is what I want you to take away. Heaviest rain Monday afternoon into early Tuesday, mainly Tuesday morning. Tuesday afternoon we should begin to see improving weather. Some flooding and some washed out roads are likely. I'm thinking southern areas of the island has the biggest risk of that happening. And as I was showing you with the various computer models, the questions do remain on where exactly the heaviest rain falls. So hopefully this will become a little bit clearer later today, and I will post more updates as needed. But this is your information now, saying that this is a threat and to prepare accordingly. I don't think power outages are a good possibility with this because it's not going to be windy. But if you live in a remote area with one road in, one road out, especially south, you might want to just have some preparations made that you could be there for a while if a road gets washed out. Not saying that's 100% likely, but it is a possibility. And as I've said before, better to hope for the best, but prepare for the worst. You can follow me on Facebook and Twitter for updates. Meteorologist Eddie Shear Facebook, at Eddie Shear Twitter. And you can find me on Instagram, Eddie Shear, and you can also find me on Snapchat. Just search Eddie Shear, go to Twitter, and you can use my Twitter picture to find me on Snapchat. All right, have a great afternoon. Enjoy the rest of today. Happy Thanksgiving, and stay safe.